Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live stream. And obviously, if you're watching from across the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We have a bit of another coup update, another Tory coup update. What is the obsession with the Tory party and starting coups against themselves? Most of the time, it fails anyway. The only time that kind of succeeded was when Jeremy Hunt essentially took over government. Hello to everybody in the live chat. We will come to you guys and get your questions, get your comments, and anything you have, your super chat, whatever. But also, as I give the actual updates, then we're going to come to you guys. We are also going to be talking about a big update on Captain Kory. If you don't know who Kory is, I'm going to explain in a minute because we have some exciting news, and of course, everything else has been happening regarding Kory. But first things first, let's get on with the political update of the night, and we're going to get everything else covered as well. Priti Patel, she's back, she's around, she hasn't left. She is not too happy with Rishi Sunak and his government. And of course, there's still a chunk of the right wing Tories, which there's still a few of them left, basically, who are refusing to leave the Conservative Party to the whatever you want to call them, the globalist establishment types, the so-called centrists. So Priti Patel is getting behind a movement to bring down the system from the inside and change the way Tory HQ operates. So this is about CCHQ, the Conservative Party headquarters, and the way the whole of the internal democracy of the Tory party actually is currently being implemented, and everything else that could change. So, what is she up to? What is Priti doing? There's a new organization called Conservative Democratic Organization. So, it's called, well, the tagline, Democracy Matters. Join the thousands of conservatives fighting every day to promote a democratic party. Now, Priti Patel shares a special page on this website, and basically, also I can see in the live chat, Bear TV and others saying, "What did I miss?" You haven't missed much. We just started the update, guys. Don't worry. So Priti Patel, a number of the right-wing Tories are not happy about the direction of the party, so they've joined a new organization, Conservative Democratic Organization. Priti Patel on this website says, "Our grassroots are the heart and soul of our party. They work tirelessly to campaign for Conservative votes, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, and fundraising locally. They are our greatest assets and advocates, and they should never be taken for granted. Party members are committed to our values and of freedom, enterprise, and opportunity, and we need to empower them to have more say over our policies and candidates. That will make us stronger, more successful in government, and boost our membership numbers." So it's quite interesting because the Tory party has already lost a huge amount of members to reform anyway. Some would say the Tory party is currently a sinking ship. What is the point in staying? But of course, some people are refusing to leave. Some would say, well, the Tory party is still the biggest platform. So if you leave it to Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt and Theresa May, they will make it even worse. So maybe it's time to leave the Tory party. I don't know for these guys. And the rest of the agenda. So what is this Conservative Democratic Organization are actually about? For those who are just curious, see why the Tories are hunting down other Tories. They are planning to do a bit of a Tory revolution, basically. So from the top left, party democracy, a directly elected Conservative Party chairman and other Conservative Party officers. I'm still surprised why the Tory party don't have that already, but okay. Replacing the National Convention. Instead, a general meeting of the party should happen. So the National Convention is basically the executive of the voluntary party and everyone who's at the top of the Conservative Party family. And it was supposed to be the voice of the members, but in fact, it's become a bit of an elitist clique, essentially. They also say power to the members. The party constitution should be capable of being changed at the general meeting of the party by members of the party. So that should be on the table. And candidate selections. Constituency associations should have the right to determine who their parliamentary candidates and members of parliament is, if necessary, deselect their MP. It mainly indicates that a lot of times Tory HQ decide who's going to be a candidate or an MP in certain areas and who can't be replaced, for example. The Tory party don't really have democracy when you look at this list of the agenda program. Right, apologies. Policy input as well. Policy conference located in a more affordable location where ministers would listen to members' ideas selected by motion submitted. They want to also be able to actually have members choosing their party leader rather than MPs, and also party conference reform. The full October party conference should be restored to the original glory with membership back in control, and it should be volunteer led. Oh God, I fell asleep reading that. The thing is, not because of them, but because of it just reminds you of what a sad state of affairs. The Tory party is in a bit of a mess. It reminds you of, for those who are, still members of the Tory party, I don't know if you are, it has been clearly dark times comparing to a few years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and especially in the 80s and 70s, but way before any of this nonsense, when the members actually had a bit of a say. That was an interesting time, but not anymore. I'm going to go to the live chat, but a quick shout out to Captain Kory. For those of you who don't know, Kory is this lovely young boy. Kory has had 2 heart transplants, and unfortunately his case is terminal, and his family decided that the remaining days of his life, they're just gonna give him a good quality of life and enjoy every second. And during this process, he also created a YouTube channel called Crack in the Box. It's Captain Kory. And over the last few days, this YouTube channel exploded. And for those of you who've been following us on social media, we've been talking about Kory, promoting him, and he got to 1,000 subscribers 4 days ago. And then we had Johnny Depp as Captain Sparrow doing a video for Kory, and following this video, he's now reached 100,000 subscribers. So I have something to announce for Kory and his friends and family, because obviously the whole point was to help him reach 100,000 subscribers. So eventually YouTube will give him one of these, the play button, to recognize his achievements. And but I'm going to be doing something. I've got in touch with YouTube HQ, to try to fast track this process for him, to make sure that he receives the YouTube play button as soon as possible, because YouTube has a long bureaucratic process because there's so many channels. If you actually wait for it to happen, it will take months. But I've been in touch tonight with YouTube to actually sort it out for Kory. And if anybody is watching who knows Kory or his family, or if you guys are actually watching directly, please get in touch. My email address is in the description. We're going to need your contact details, whether email or a phone number, because YouTube will need your actual home address to be able to send this. So please, if you know Kory, please get in touch. And don't forget, I've also included Kory's YouTube link in the description. Go and subscribe and share it everywhere as usual, like we've done over the last few days. So let's go to the live chat, see what is going on. Here comes the cough. Where's my booster? Right, No Escape says, great. Family show, guys. The Conservatives are dead. Lee Anderson should cross to reform. A lot of people actually keep talking about Lee Anderson because he's one of the last few good guys left in the Conservative Party. And they say there's absolutely no point for you, Lee, to stay in the Tory Party. Just join reform. But we will see. There are also other parties. Actually, we have involuntary chat saying the English Constitutional Party doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? Going nowhere, I'm afraid. It is a bit of a long name, the English Constitutional Party. But also, of course, it's not going to be able to do well in the UK Parliament because the Parliament is for the UK. Unless you want to change the Constitution, then that way we can actually talk about England. But unfortunately, that's how things are. Graham, nice on on Captain Kory. Definitely subscribe to his channel. We have a super chat from Alien Tenor. I love that name, by the £2. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, Maya, for helping Kory. Thank you so much. Also, when you go on Kory's YouTube link, you could also find the other links to the heart transplant and all the other pages and his Facebook page if you want to support the cause and everything else as well. All right, so Jason, I was coughing earlier. Jason says you can never have enough boosters. Right, let's see what else we have. Let me know your thoughts on what you just heard. For those of you who are late, I'll give you a quick summary in a couple of minutes on what Priti Patel is up to. What else is this? Martin Smith, don't send it via our postal service. He will never get it. Yeah, I know. But I believe when I got my YouTube play button, they don't use the Royal Mail, so I think it should be right. We'll see. Bear TV, welcome back to the live stream. Will a voting reform UK actually bring about change? This is a class. I mean, it's a very good question, but this is the whole point of why the system is so hard to change. Is because it's not the system that's difficult; it's us. We don't really have faith in ourselves or in a new party. A lot of people would like to actually go to the ballot box and say, okay, the last few weeks and months I've been ranting about this new party, and then they get there, and then they still end up voting red or blue for various reasons. Like, for example, 2019, people were like, well, only the Tories and Boris could get Brexit done, so fine, let's do that. People don't really have faith that the British Revolution could actually happen. But it can happen. It happened 100 years ago with the Labour Party coming out of nowhere, completely replacing the old Liberal Party and becoming one of the two main parties. So people still have faith, by the way. Carol Ronham says Reform UK. Graham Stansfield says Reform UK. So there are people. Mandy says Reform UK. But obviously, by the way, on this channel, I'm still going to remain independent because the best way to do it is for me to remain the media. We are the media. But of course, in a very objective way, while the Reform UK are doing well, definitely praise them. If somehow they get into government and do a bit of a mess, I will definitely stand up to them. But we'll see, unless they buy me a drink. But okay, let's just give a quick update to those of you who just joined the live stream. And then, so I think a lot of people are waiting because they don't know what questions we're asking. Okay, so Priti Patel has joined a new movement, and another Tory coup to fight back against Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt's Tory HQ. The idea is there's a new organisation called Conservative Democratic Organisation. It says Democracy Matters. Join the thousands of conservatives fighting every day to promote a democratic party. Although the way things are going, within the next week they're going to have to change that on the website, saying join the hundreds of Tories, and then 2 months from now, join the tens of conservatives. But yeah, so jokes aside, the idea is that Priti Patel obviously has a big profile on this website. They have these ideas to reform the Tory HQ and make sure that members could actually elect their party chairman. They want to replace the National Convention, which is the head of the Tory party. A general meeting of the party will be replacing it to make sure that members have more power, so that they choose their party leader, they choose their local candidates, and they have a say at party conference, which makes me think, that's not going to happen, right? Because the Tory machine are not going to give you that much power and freedom. It's not going to happen, guys. But let's go back to the live chat to what you guys are saying. Billy says, vote Reform UK. Let's start a political revolution, not seen since Cromwell. Yeah, let's not do it like Oliver, because Oliver Cromwell obviously brought down the system, but then he ended up becoming a dictator. I don't think Richard Tice will be a dictator like Oliver, but it should be okay. What is happening here? You all at Talk TV should try to distance yourselves from Piers Morgan. He's poison and won't hesitate to take you down with him when he goes. Well, I'm not, I don't work for Talk TV. I'm a commentator on Talk TV, and Piers Morgan still has me blocked on Twitter. So I am still an independent YouTube media person, whatever I am. Let's go back to the live chat. Oh dear. Robin Holt, twisted face, Patel, another compulsive stranger to the truth, globalist puppet. It's quite strange because there have always been a few conservative members of the Tory party who, when there are backbenchers, they're pretty sound. then the moment they become a government minister, they become a bit of a eh, yeah, with no real conviction, with no values. That also is the fault of the system, of course. When you become a minister, you're part of the team, and you have the responsibilities. But I wish that we could actually change that. I wish that people would join a cabinet if they truly believed in it. But it's not the case, because if Prime Minister offers you Chancellor or Home Secretary, you just say yes. You're like, yeah, I can have influence. You're not going to have influence. You're going to turn into a globalist puppet or whatever you turn out to be. That's why, as Mandy says, drain the Westminster swamp. For the sake of democracy, and for the sake of even the last few hopes that some people have to make the Tory party conservative again, just do something about it. Otherwise, let's just get behind a new movement, and let's try and see either if that will wake up the two main parties, or it could just completely destroy them. You never know. So that's where we are. So I don't know what this. We have James Bond in the live chat saying, "My name is Bond." James Bond. Very, very great contribution, Mr. Bond. What else do we have? Alison saying, "The elite live in corporate globalist capitalism whilst enslaving us on peanuts and living a communist life. Fake democracy, fake freedom, getting less en route." But I mean, that is a good summary. And I wouldn't really call it, I would just use the first two words, corporatist and globalist, because it's no longer capitalism. It's not free market capitalism anymore. They've completely given all the power to the people at the top. Big business and big government going hand in hand. As I always say, size matters. And small is good, big is bad. Big business, big government, big bureaucracy and everything. So yeah, team small. Everything should be more localized and decentralized. That's the only way you can actually be more effective. What else do we have in the live chat? Terry Jones says, "I joined Reform, but Richard needs to vet his team well. All too often, one rotten apple spoils the barrel. The mainstream media will pick on the smallest detail." It's a very, very good point that Terry makes, because that's always been the problem with smaller parties. UKIP had the same problem, because on the one hand, you kind of need more members and more candidates because you don't have the resources like the main two parties, but you can't just be desperate. So there've always been a few random members, whether it was UKIP, but even right now the Green Party, that completely destroy the narrative because they come out and their scandals will just overshadow the whole agenda. But I believe, I've been talking to Richard and his team, they have been very, very cautious. They've been very good at vetting people to make sure that there's no real skeletons in the closet. Also, is Rich coming from the establishment, considering the Tory MPs and Labour MPs on a regular basis keep getting into trouble? Whether it's the financial scandals, the lobbying scandals, and all the touchy scandals, and all the weird stuff. So why is it that they don't get into trouble? It's always the actual individual members of the Tory party or Labour party that get into trouble. Doesn't bring down their parties. Whereas, obviously, smaller parties, one bad apple, as Terry Jones says, the whole party goes down. Lunderground says, "The Tories are socialists. Any British party is globalist. Any British mainstream party is globalist." And these people have also completely destroyed the concept of internationalism, because what you want ideally to have, you should bring back nationalism, a very moderate, basic concept of nationalism. There's nothing wrong with it. Be patriotic, put your nation first, look after your people first, and then voluntarily, as a country, once you are prosperous and powerful, you can cooperate with countries on trade and, of course, their cooperation in terms of security. But globalism, ultra-globalism, has gone towards destroying the national identities by empowering all these international bodies and entities that dictate on each individual so-called sovereign nation. But people don't really have a vote. We don't really have any say when it comes to the World Health Organization or the World Trade Organization or the United Nations and all this, all that. And that's the problem. You need to, as Darwood says, bring back common sense. That's a good party name. Something with common sense. Problem with common sense is that it's not common anymore, Darwood. That is the real issue. What else do we have? We have Andrew. Andrew says, "Rishi Rat, will do nothing. He is complicit along with the rest of Parliament. We never really left the EU. It's the biggest lie the UK has ever seen. I would have actually said that a couple of years ago. That we haven't obviously we not fully leaving the EU is the biggest lie. But so much has happened over the last year or so that I can probably come up with a list of at least 5 other big lies that would probably even top that. And that's sad, by the way, because what Andrew says is absolutely spot on. Right, let's see what else we have here. Earthstick says people entering the House of Lords should have to leave any political party they're in. People shouldn't join the House of Lords. That's the thing. I mean, the politicization of the House of Lords and all these political appointees is why we're in this mess. Should be obviously a more traditional but it goes back to this point. Absolutely spot on. Non-party affiliation. You can't have your party government whips going to House of Lords and whipping the members of the House of Lords. It makes no sense. Super chat from Aaron Bacon. Thank you so much. I love that name. I love bacon. Conservative Democrats sounds more like Democratic Socialists of the United States that are on the same wavelength. Names mean nothing. Actions say everything. Yes, spot on, Aaron Bacon. You're making me hungry with that name. But it is what it is, unfortunately. I mean, this, for those of you who obviously joined left, this whole idea behind the conservative democratic organization is not a new political party. It's mostly like a kind of not really in terms of political leaning, by the way. I'm not going to say that because of that. But it's like the Tea Party in 2010, 2012 within the GOP. It's an internal movement inside a political party. It's definitely not like the Tea Party. It is not libertarian. Its aim is to bring in reforms at the inside Tory HQ to prevent the future coups like Jeremy Hunt and Rishi Sunak. Which, by the way, is something I've been saying for like a couple of years now. I've been saying the problem with the Tory government and Tory party is not just a couple of members and MPs or like who's in charge as party leader. The problem goes deep. It's Tory HQ, CCHQ. That needs a deep change, a deep clean out, and a complete change in constitution. Because whilst those people are still in charge, nothing will change. Completely out of touch. The real Pollyanna, thank you so much for the £20 super chat. Feel free if you want to leave any comment or question while you do the super chat as well. But thank you so much, the real Pollyanna. What else do we have here? Yes, Sean actually makes a good point here. Sean says, backdoor deals Tories. That's the definition of the Tory party, unfortunately. It's always been like this. But it made them, until now, historically the most successful Democratic Party in history. But not anymore, I guess. Things are changing. David says, why try to save the Tory party? Yeah, it's time for something fresh, right? But I mean, say that to the members of the Conservative Party, I guess, because maybe they have a point. Maybe we're wrong, David. I don't know. But at this point, at least for the next election, no hope. Next election, they are inevitably going to be doing badly anyway, the way things are going. And maybe we should just completely punish them. It's time for them. Maybe by going down, we'll make them change. But I don't really care about fixing or saving the Tory party. It's simply about having a competent government. Galloway, why are so many Tory party members WEF shills? It's mostly MPs rather than the actual members. The members are just grassroots, pretty conservative, pretty right-wing, but they don't have a say or power. Okay, so also, don't worry guys, I just got Ricardo's comment. Geez, please do a recap for late joiners. I will definitely do a recap within the next 2 minutes. Don't worry, Ricardo, in the next minute. So for those of you who are late, I will give you guys the recap. But it's quite fascinating because the reason that you see a lot of Tory MPs, not just even government ministers, become, as we say, WEF shills is because everything in the Westminster bubble is based on lobbying and everything is based on also money. So the system inevitably creates an environment where MPs will get invited to all these international trips. And they go here on the gravy train. and they have all these meetings with this expert and that expert and this philanthropist and all these guys, and take selfies with what's his name? Why am I forgetting all the names now? Microsoft and Bezos and all these guys and all the Clintons. It kind of makes sense. Why did I forget his name? Let me know in the comment section. My brain is not working tonight. But one of the issues that we currently have is the fact that we don't really have any alternative to the actual system. There's no real alternative to doing things in a non-lobbying way. And that's why things don't change. Let's do a quick recap for Ricardo and everybody else in the live chat who's just joined the live stream as well. For some time, the Tories have been living on regular coups. And all these coups... Bill Gates, thank you for... I can't believe I forgot Bill Gates' name. Bill Gates, I was talking about Bill Gates. All right, let's get back on the show. What? I'm all over the place. Right, so Priti Patel is starting a coup against a coup that brought down the initial coup. So this is about the Tory members, some of the conservative members of the Tory party, and Priti Patel starting a new organisation called the Conservative Democratic Organisation to bring back democracy into the Tory party. Priti Patel talks about how the grassroots of the Tory party are the heart and soul of the party. They work tirelessly to campaign for conservative votes, blah, 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 and they need to have more say and more power. And this organization have actually been getting good support so far over the last couple of days. They want to bring back more democracy into the Tory party so that members could elect their party chairman. Members could actually properly choose their party leader. They want to replace the National Convention of the party, which is the top of the Tory party, with a general meeting of the party, and also more power to the members when it comes to party conferences and policy suggestions. And as you can see the whole list for yourself. You want to pause the video at some point later and watch it. It is quite interesting, but of course a lot of the members, it's too late. So many of the grassroots Conservative Party members have already left and have either joined Reform or have completely become independent and completely disillusioned. So it is what it is. I still can't believe I forgot Bill Gates' name. Also, just a quick recap on tonight's news, obviously. All the other headlines that you guys have missed. If you haven't watched tonight's show on the channel after this live stream, do me a favor, get more tea in your cup of tea and watch all the other videos, because we talked about why Rishi Sunak lies. This was about the announcement he made earlier that he passionately cares about illegal migration and he passionately has a new plan to tackle illegal migration. And fun fact, nothing's going to change. We also did talk about Kwasi Kwarteng's confession about Liz Truss and when he worked for Liz Truss, which was basically finally him taking the blame. So that was quite interesting. And he said both of us and all of us went a bit too far. There's also another video that we did earlier, which was about Zara Sultana going on BBC Politics Live and essentially implying that the British public are all backwards and bigoted. So we need to spend taxpayers' money to hire diversity managers and woke managers across the country to make sure we fix the British public. So that was lovely. We also have a video on update on voter fraud. Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, is that other party no one talks about, and Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, are fighting back to protect voter fraud. Literally, they are fighting back against any measure that actually tries to challenge the voter fraud that we've seen in Peterborough by-election or in Tower Hamlets every single time. So that's a good video. And the Tories hunting down Jeremy Hunt. So that's a good video, because this is actually about the updates that he is still spending over £7 billion of taxpayers' money on woke and socialist projects in the middle of a cost of living crisis. So thank you, everybody. The latest update that we had just before this live stream, definitely check this video out after this live stream. Definitely do it. This is about the Rotherham cover-up. The latest that we now have is the guy you see on the left, Mr. Beck, was a former Labour Party councillor between 2011 and 2015. And He was kind of around during the days of the Rotherham grooming cover-up, and he was forced to resign in 2015 when a report came out a year before that he was complicit. And then he's now back. He's back officially as the Labour Party's parliamentary candidate to become a Labour MP at the next election. No punishment, no regret, no apologies. The man who was behind, one of the people who was behind the lack of action when it comes to the victims of the grooming scandal in Rotherham, is now going to have even more power as a member of parliament. He was forced to resign as a councillor and is being rewarded by becoming an MP. This is the state of our British politics, ladies and gentlemen. But they're definitely, after this live stream, check out those video updates as well. We obviously come to you guys every half an hour, every day, to give you guys all the news stories that you're not going to get from the mainstream media. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's just joined. I'm just going to do a recap on Kory as well. Captain Kory, if you've been following us on social media over the last couple of days, few days, we've been trying to get him to reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So Kory, I'm going to basically show you, actually I forgot to show you the clip that we had earlier from him, this Kory had 2 heart transplants, and unfortunately his case is terminal, but his family decided to help him have a good quality of life, and he started the YouTube channel, and Johnny Depp did a big shout out, and he's now exceeded 100,000 subscribers, and I'm actually helping him now. I've got in touch with YouTube earlier, YouTube HQ, to get him to get one of these, the YouTube play buttons, to fast track his process, because it usually takes months. After you reach 100,000 subscribers, it takes months for them to even get in touch. It's too many channels on YouTube. So I actually got in touch with them to try and see if they can fast track the process to get it to him as soon as possible. But for those who don't know, this is Captain Kory.
So Kory's had 2 heart transplants. He's in palliative care. So we are making the most of whatever time we have left, isn't it? Yeah. By not going to school, bonus. Not really doing any housework, living in our pyjamas, just slumming it really, which is really good. So yeah, we're just kind of focusing on making life as good as we possibly can, having as much fun as we can when we can. We have a lot of people supporting us. A lot of people follow the transplant pages, which is fantastic. The locals are great, aren't they? Yeah. So we did the Christmas light switch on, which was Kory's first official video that went up.
So yeah, that was Captain Kory. If you want to check out his YouTube channel, I'll put a link in the description. It's cracking the box. Definitely share it. Get everyone to subscribe as well to make this little boy a bit happier right now. Johnny Depp did a big shout out video to him as well to help him reach 100,000 subscribers. And also, if anybody is in touch with Kory's family or anybody that they know him, please get in touch. My email is in the description because I'm trying to get their home address or email address to get their home address for YouTube, so they could send the play button to them as quicker than the normal process. And as Two Tone says, smash the like button. Definitely do that. I missed one super chat. Let's go to that one. There we go. So almighty. But thank you so much for your super chat support, saying never done a super chat before, just testing it. Well, it worked. Thank you so much for the support. You don't have to. In the middle of a cost of living crisis, I really don't expect any support in that sense, but if you would like to, I will always try to give a shout out, because I know there are so many other YouTube channels that you just do super chats and they don't really give a shout out. They don't really care. They don't even read it. But I'll try my best to read as many as comments that I could actually find while I'm talking. It's difficult to multitask, obviously, but I'll try my best to do that. Thank you so much, everybody, and all the support that you've been giving me. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out Kory's channel as well. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.